Hey there, my name is Jay. I work in voiceover. Welcome to my booth. This is the fourth installment in how to get started in voiceover. Ooh, creaky. And today we're going to talk about how to set some recording levels. Now, what does it mean to set a recording level? You're dialing in the gain of your microphone to be loud enough that you're not going to have to boost your audio a ton in post. After you've recorded it, you don't want to, because that can lead to bad recording quality. And it's not so loud that you're distorting your recordings right off the bat and clipping, which is a throw out right out of the gate. Now, there are a couple ways to do this. The first and easiest way is via your audio interface. And this may be a little different depending on what audio interface you've picked up for yourself, but let's take a look at this one. This is the Focusrite Scarlett Solo. Let me turn on the microphone here, and this is my gain knob. And as I turn my gain knob up, you'll see how this green light around it turns to yellow at some points and then to red. Red is bad. Yellow means caution. Green is good. Pretty intuitive there. Well designed. So we'll just dial it back to where it's green, flashing green pretty much all the time. And that's a good recording level. Red means that I'm getting distorted in clipping. And yellow again means maybe you want to back off just a smidge. So that's how this audio interface works. And setting a good level there. Then let's take a look now at my digital audio interface. This is just the computerized version of exactly what we just walked through. The same principles apply here. This is my gain knob. I can turn that up or down. Here's the phantom power button, which is on because I'm recording right now. And then down here is the meter. So this is the same thing as that little green circle, yellow circle, red circle. And as I'm recording here, I want it to be bouncing between -12 and -6 dB, meaning these numbers on the right here all represent decibels, and a healthy recording level for most projects is between 12 and 6. Is this an exact science? Not at all. Your voice changes as you speak in the context of a sentence, so you don't have to be like really precise about this. Just take a look at it, and if generally you're bouncing around in that range, you're good to go. Now, the reason why this is a good recording level to set it at is because it's giving you a bit of headroom. You're not getting very close to zero. If you think of 0 decibels as the ceiling, if you hit that ceiling or try to go beyond it, it ruins the recording. So you want to stay below the ceiling, and it's nice to have a bit of headroom. So if you decide to jump up in volume, you get excited all of a sudden, and there's a surge of volume in your speech, you've got a little bit of wiggle room there, and you don't have to worry about that beautiful, surprising little bit of emotion ruining your recording. It's also just loud enough that you don't have to worry about your signal-to-noise ratio being bad. Your signal-to-noise ratio, the ratio between your signal, which is your speech, the important sounds that you're recording, and the noise of your recording space. So if I were to stop talking right now, we would hear my noise floor, which every space has, and it varies depending on what you're looking at. So let's try it. I'll stop talking for a second. And that is my noise floor. Pretty quiet because I've got a booth here, and you can try that out. If I pull open my software, we can check exactly where the level is of my noise floor pretty precisely. So we'll take a look at this meter down on the bottom and watch what happens when I stop talking. So that was pretty quiet. It's below -57 there. Now, if I were to turn my gain up so that my peaks were at, say, -3 dB, so we'll take a look at my meter here, and I'll turn my gain up. Test 1, 2, 3. Test 1, 2, 3. So my peaks right now are at -3 dB, and I've got to be kind of careful that I don't talk too loudly or I'm going to blow out my audio. Now if I go back to my recording software, we can check where my noise floor is now. Pretty significant difference. Before it wasn't reading anything, and now it's hovering around minus 54 decibels. So that's a good example of why you don't want to have your gain set too high, because it can make it kind of difficult. I'm having to really control my voice, and I'm also having to contend with a pretty loud noise floor. As far as what a good noise floor is, the professional standard is below minus 60 dB, which is pretty difficult to achieve unless you live in a really quiet place or if you've got a professional booth like I do. For most folks out there, I think if you're working with below minus 50 decibels on average, that's pretty workable, and you'll just have to pay attention to any ambient sounds that may peak at any point. Now, if you are working with an interface that, like the Scarlett Solo, that doesn't have an exact meter to give you precise decibel readings off of, sort of like most recording softwares, like the one I'm using here, which is Adobe Audition, have a really lovely meter like this, which will give you a lot of really valuable information. So let's pull open Audacity, which is a great free software. And there's a meter up here that we can use to monitor our recordings. If you haven't opened this just yet, I'll just demystify a couple of things really quickly. This microphone is next to a drop-down window. This is selecting your audio input. So we'll look at our audio interface, click that. That's the one I want. This is the audio output for this software specifically. I'll click on my audio interface to make sure any sound coming out of this software is going to my headphones. And the last thing I'll check is this, which is selecting the input channel from my interface that I want to record from. I want channel 1, so I'll click on that. One quick note, if you don't know the difference between mono and stereo, stereo is usually used when recording with 2 microphones. And as voiceover performers, we pretty much are always only using 1 microphone, so we always record in mono. And to be a little bit more specific, the mono, it treats both speakers in any ecosystem, but using headphones as an example, the left and right speaker, the audio is given to them equally. There's no difference between the left and right side when I'm listening to a mono recording. In stereo, they're treated independently. The left speaker is treated as the left speaker and the right as the right. But again, as voiceover performers, we just have 1 microphone, 1 voice. We always record in mono. Then, once I've got all those things clicked, I'll click to start monitoring, and I've got a meter here with great decibel values, and I can dial things in a little bit more specifically. One thing that's helpful with Audacity in particular, it's got this nifty little blue line that pops up. That's the peak value of my recordings. So if you want to be positive that your peaks are at or below -6, that little blue line is really helpful. So there you go. You've got a couple different ways to set your recording levels and monitor what's going on as you record. And generally speaking, you can just set this level and forget it. As long as you've got a consistent recording space set up for yourself, you're good to go. If you change spaces or if you're having to set it up and take it down frequently, you may want to check it every time you do so just to make sure that you're in a healthy space. But as I said, you're typically recording at a speaking level most of the time, and if you're in the same space, it's going to save you loads of time in the long run. And then if you do something that's out of the ordinary, like a animated episode that requires you to be particularly loud, or a really quiet, whispering, ASMR-esque type situation, you can turn your sensitivity up to get good recording levels there. And that's it. So I hope this was useful for you. If you have any questions about this or anything else voiceover or just, life in general, let me know. I'll get back to you as soon as I can. And until the next one, be well. Doodles.